What's up, guys? So, as you know, I am sort of the retro format Edison guy, and I imagine that's what a lot of you come here for. But there was a huge ban list in current, and I wanted to experiment with some, not exactly reaction video, you'll see what I mean, because I have limited knowledge of current Yu-Gi-Oh! But I know this is a really, really big switch up as far as the current format goes. So I kind of wanted to give my thoughts on it as someone with like partial knowledge. I'm going to kind of be learning as I go and take a look at some of the cards that were recently unbanned and kind of give my impressions of them as a older player without a ton of knowledge of current. And yeah, like as you'll see throughout this, like I know some cards, I know what Ash Blossom does, I know some modern strategies, but the details of some stuff definitely lose me. But let's get right into it. So this just came out the other day, and it's going to be effective January 1st. So right off the bat, literally alphabetical order. A is Agido, Ancient Sentinel, and I do know what this card does. It mills 5 from the top of your deck as well as some other effects, and I know it was really strong in the tier elements, so kind of no surprise. I know a lot of people like in the current tier element, even if they're limited, they were limited prior, so the consistency is not very good, so it made it even worse when they milled their one of Agido. And it kind of made that whole deck viable, as well as they're just like kind of degen luck based things. Like, so Agido Kelbeck, that makes sense to me. Should never have even been printed, but weirdly, I don't know if they were that powerful at one, but makes sense, just introducing luck. Mathing Circular, I'm gonna be honest, I have a wish-washy understanding of what this card does. Let's look up what it does. Let's start here, because I know this card got unbanned, but I know sort of what the Mathmech cards do, and I've played a little bit on Master Duel. So you can send one monster from your deck to your graveyard, special summon from your hand. You can attack one monster for the rest of this turn. If a Mathmech monster is normal special summon to your field, will you control this? So it's a searcher, and it like specials and mills. So yeah, it's kind of just like one card starter, like does everything you want it to. And I don't know, it didn't really seem like Mathmech was doing anything. So I'm not really sure why this is getting hit now, but really strong card for sure. Now Isolde. Now this is another card I have a sort of like vague understanding of. So let's look up Isolde. Two Noble Knights. Right? This is it. So I know it's like you send equips from your deck or something. Like this sort of the general understanding I have of a lot of current years. Like it involves equip cards and warriors or something. So when this card is link summoned, and I understand what a link summon is, add one warrior monster, but you can't summon it. And then you can send any number of equip spells with different names, and you special summon one from your deck. Oh, so it does two things. See, this is always the crazy thing. It's like you add a card, that would already be good. Like link summon to add a warrior. But then you send and you special one. Wow. Yeah, that's a very, very strong card. And I know it was really used in the Infernoble deck. I don't know what those cards do either, but I mean, any deck that is like a warrior combo deck, I could totally see why this is just super insane. And I believe that's all the limited. Like I took a brief look over this beforehand, but as you can see, I don't really know what some of these do. So Heart Horror, and this was one I wanted to focus on today. So Orcust, Heart Horror, you probably saw I already had it open. But this card, so this was banned, I believe. And I know Orcust was a really popular strategy for a couple years, maybe, like 2016, 2017, 2018, maybe, somewhere in that range. You can banish this card, special summon one Orcust monster from your deck, except Heart Horror, and also you cannot special summon monster for the rest of the turn except dark monsters. Hard turn. Now, obviously the dark restriction just doesn't fucking matter at all because the best monsters are all dark. So that's no surprise. But I mean, this would have been so crazy with the tier element stuff because they were even playing just like malicious and other weird like extenders that just benefited from being milled. So maybe their thought process was something like, since the Ishizu guys are banned, like this can come back. I don't really know. It obviously depends what cards it can summon, and I want to get to that in a minute after we talk about the list. But yeah, I'm going to look at the Orcust cards after this and give you my thoughts on those as well. And that's the thing. This, these cards haven't even been playable in a couple of years, I believe. So, you know, I don't know if they're going to be able to keep up with the power creep or whatever. But also machine, I guess you can send it from the deck with like scrap recycler. I think that was used. So not just making stuff. Redox, I mean, this card is really crazy. I mean, it's a free summon from the grave. Again, like if you have grave effects, maybe you can make some stuff using rank 7s. And the hand effect is obviously good. Airlifter, I'm gonna look up this card. I don't fully understand what all the Rescue Ace stuff does. Airlifter. Let's give it a read. Or maybe not gonna read every card, I don't know, but almost press summon. So it's a Stratos. Okay, a spell for spells. And then when your opponent activates a monster effect, contribute this card, hand or from the hand. So you kind of use it as a hand drop. And then special summon from your hand. Okay. Yeah, I think I would have to know more about the Rescue Age archetype to really understand that. But Shavara, I'm not sure which one that is. I'm just gonna do the Orcust stuff. I'm not gonna read, but I know this really hurts Unchained, and that was one of the best like mid-range decks. Dryas and Healer, gonna be completely honest, like my general understanding of how the plant deck work is like, I know you need to summon the Loci, that's what it's called, I believe, Loci, the normal guy, and then you make the Link 1, which I think is this, Dryas, Sun Avalon Dryas. And that Dryas, that searches something, is Sunvine Spawn Trap, and then you link it off again or something. So yeah, I mean, it just seems to like hurt the consistency of that, I guess. Ib. Now, this is a card I read after it got unbanned, and this card is crazy. So I'm definitely down to do more of this style of content if you guys find it interesting at all. But look, for all you like old school players, look, level 5 synchro doesn't have any restrictions on what can be used for it. It's also a synchro tuner, so that's not, there's not even any of those in Edison. But you know, if you play in Tengu Plant or any of those later formats, you maybe have some familiarity. But look, when it's synchro summoned, you can add one World Legacy card. So you're getting a free card regardless. If that card's like playable at all, and I know some of them like are extenders or something, then that's obviously very good. Just lets you further combo. And if the synchro summons card sent to the graveyard, special summon World Chalice forms in your deck. And now like, this just does so many things at once, you know, it's like you can convert stuff on the board, you get a free search, then you can link this off, you get more searches, or you can synchro with it to make a big guy, you make a Baron or something. I'm like, yeah, I don't know, this card just seems really nutty, but it's my understanding that the cards that it searches, the World Legacy and the World Chalice monsters, are not super powerful in and of themselves, so, you know, maybe that's really the defining factor there. Now, Snatch Steal, goat card, literal goat card. Yeah, I don't really imagine this is doing that much because like Change of Heart is kind of like fringe playable. I mean, Snatch Steal is probably about as good as Change of Heart, but like it also can be stopped by some destruction effects, so it's probably less good. And then the 3 Floodgates, which this just seems good for the game, you know, like I have watched some current gameplay where it's like flip Floodgate win. So, I mean, that just seems overall a positive thing. They won't be that consistent. It's kind of more annoying because now they only have one of them, but, you know, there can only be one. It's sort of like a reverse version of Rivalry and Gozen, from my understanding. Now, Pranker Tops, I've played this card in some like cube formats, and this card is very strong, you know, going second. I know it's used to like break a lot of board. You can swing over a guy, pop a card, out the Floodgates. Now with the Floodgates gone, I don't know how relevant it's going to be, but it's still like a free special summon body. So the good thing about cards like this is even when you're kind of siding them in to counter specific things, then they can still function as part of your engine because you can special it and then like link it off or do whatever. It's still a body. Terratop, I know this is used a lot in like Zoo format. So you can make a rank 3 XYZ, search the Takatom board. I don't know how good this card is going to be. I mean, it's free bodies on board, but there's a lot of different things that do that, and like the individual cards are kind of bricks, so I don't know. Sleeping Memory, I have a general understanding of how Pearly work. This is like the good one, lets you draw for free. So I think probably getting 3 free draws if you had three copies of this, maybe a little too much. So this kind of just hurts the consistency. And I know there's a card that's like reveal 3, so this just means you don't always get Sleeping Memory. I feel like that's kind of annoying when that's like a big part of the deck. It's like that's just hurting consistency, but maybe you have to just hedge for that in your gameplay. I don't know. It doesn't seem like Pearly's having the best results, so I don't really know. And then the semi-limits, you can kind of see here. Arc Fiend, I doubt that will do anything. There's probably some crazy OTKs, but Unicorn, I mean, the Arise Heart's still banned. Maybe there's some small Cashier packages, but I don't really think that changes going from 2 to 3 Unicorns. Mind Control probably won't do anything. Auto Desires to 3, probably some decks will play that, especially like some big combo pile decks. Spellbook of Judgment. I'm surprised this never really did anything. Like, it seems like there's something you could do with it, but I don't know. Sprite Starter, I don't know if Spriter is still good. It doesn't really seem like they're going to do much. That's my impression. And at the very bottom, Upstart Goblin, which is cut up on the screen. Old school card. I don't know, it doesn't really seem like people play Upstart Goblin because like any individual card is that much more impactful. Maybe do a whole video on Upstart Goblin or something, but like it just when you're playing so many bricks in your deck, and also like you just want your internal consistency. Any decks that can benefit from spells, you know, I know Spell Striker or Sky Striker was using it, so that could be interesting. But yeah, I mean, these are my half-assed thoughts on the list. But I want to get into the Orcust stuff because I just think this is kind of interesting, you know, to look at these cards and say, like, what is my initial impression? I kind of, because I do this sometimes, I'll go back into the current card pool and look at the cards that are legal, and someone will tell me about something or send me a link. So let's just go down the list. Brass Bombard. So this guy, level 1 tuner, banish this card, special summon Orcust from your hand. You cannot special summon except dark. So this has a grave effect. I think a lot of them have grave effects, and it's a tuner, so like maybe if you're summoning it off the harp, the tuner does something. But this one seems not so good to me, just because it only gets from the hand. I don't know. So they obviously all work together and search each other, so I'm gonna kind of reserve judgment here, but I'm gonna kind of piece together the combos as I go. So you banish this card from your graveyard. This is Symbol Skeleton. This is a level 3. So again, banish from the graveyard, just like Harpor, and just like the other one, I guess. Target one Orcust monster in your graveyard, special summon it. Also, you cannot special summon except dark, so most of those have that effect, and a hard bones per turn. So this allows you to kind of recycle this stuff, so I can already see, like, if you are getting multiple guys to the grave, you know, like, I guess the Harpor can search this, and then this goes to grave, you link it off, whatever, maybe you can revive something with it. So I'm kind of seeing some synergies there. The Symbol Skeleton, that was the last one. Orcustrion. This is a link monster, and this is if you 2 effect monsters. A link 4, so it takes 4 monsters to card this, but link card cannot be destroyed without other card effects, so that's already crazy. Compared to Edison format, that's like already crazy, but I know that some of those effects are not as strong and current. You can target 3 of your banished machine monsters, shuffle them into the deck, and if you do, the attack of any linked monsters currently controlled becomes 0, also affecting you. I mean, this is pretty good, but it's a link 4, and like even negating the effects of multiple cards in the field. Like, you get to recycle your resources, but maybe this would just be useful as like an Orcust name or like a dark as a big beater. But I don't really, it seems like probably other Link 4s are better at this stage in the game. I know this was maybe like early on in Links coming out, I think, some of these cards. Galatea, I know this one's supposed to be pretty good. So this is just a Link 2, so easier to summon, and you know, with these harp and symbol cards, you could easily put some bodies on board. So Link card cannot be destroyed battle, it's okay. Target one of your banished machine monsters, shuffle in the deck, and you can set one Orcust spell trap directly from your deck. So I gotta see what these spell and traps do. But this seems pretty strong because obviously you're banishing one, the Harpor or the symbol to put guys on board, and then your Orcust, you can make this guy pretty easily and search spell trap, and that's, you know, a lot of free cards basically. So that seems pretty good, depending on what the spell and traps do. Orcust Nightmare. So this is a bigger one. Like the other ones, you can, I guess, normal summon them and probably link them off somehow, or get them off the field. But this one you couldn't. You would have to send it somehow. But can't be destroyed by battle. Link monster, probably that's kind of relevant. But banish this card from the graveyard. One face-up monster in the field, and then send one dark monster, dark machine. Accept Orchid. Target monster gains attack at a level, so it's just a small boost. But like being able to foolish a guy from your deck maybe just gives you like more copies of it. Like you could probably Harp Horror, summon this, and then link this off, and then banish this to send another one. I guess you're just thinning and you're like fueling your remove from play pile. I guess you could have just like searched the initial thing, but maybe that's relevant somehow. I mean, if you just want more copies of like the Harp Horror or of any of them, I guess that kind of serves its purpose. But Longirsu. Like I've heard the names of some of these cards, but I just really have no idea what they do. So this is link 3, and you need an Orcust monster. Not be destroyed by card effects, so they all have some kind of like built-in protection. At least the big guys do. You can target 2 of your banished machine monsters. So again, that's what the deck does, and that could work into what I was just talking about. Like Nightmare is just kind of like a cantrip. It's just an extra name in the banish pile. But shuffle them into the deck, then you can send one linked monster your opponent controls it. So is that a card that it points to? I think that's what that means. This cannot attack, but this is just a pop. This is just destroying a monster. So I don't know. I mean, like, I guess that seems good, but again, like it seems like there's probably better links to make. Maybe I'm wrong. Dingirsu. I know this card gets used a bit. You can only special summon Dingirsu once per turn. You can also exile this one, so you can just put it over any link monster, any Orcust link. So that's kind of an easy way to get to a big guy, I guess. Card you control, we destroy battle card, but you can attach one material in the card instead. So blanket protection on any card you have. And when it's summoned, you can send a card, and that's when it's special summoned. So even if it goes to the grave other ways, maybe you can bring it back. I guess with symbols, you could do that. That's kind of interesting. Send one card, because you could bring it back and pop a card, or recycle a card from banish. So this seems pretty good. I mean, you can like link climb and then like recycle stuff, using both the link 2 and this. I'm kind of seeing some like recursion, and I'm just like, it really just depends, like, but like what's the payoff, you know? And maybe this is just an engine. I know that that's kind of how it works, but this is semi-limited ECG, or OCG, so unlimited here. This card is normally special summoned to level 4, 1800. You can send one Orcust or World Legacy, so again, tie in with that archetype. I'm not gonna look at those today, but you can send one from the deck to the grave, and if there are 2 or more monsters in this card's column, treat this card as a tuner. Okay. You can special summon one World Legacy token to both players' field, but you can probably just clear that with one of your guys. But so you're getting a free body. So you're basically foolish burialing a guy to the grave, which they all have effects. So you're basically getting a free summon off that. And then I think the column, maybe you could figure out a way to arrange like with your link monster if you set your own spell trap, something like that. But maybe that effect just doesn't come up as much. Making it a tuner, it seems like primarily a link deck, but maybe that gives you some other options. And I guess this one doesn't have the same dark type restriction, which is kind of interesting. But yeah, it just depends how you want to work. Like, are there synchros? So okay, so now we're on spell and traps. Like, are there other monsters? Let me see. I'll read that in a second. I think that's the last of the monsters. I think. Yeah. Okay, that's a trap. All right. So Orcust Babel, the field spell. I feel like I remember hearing their field spell being kind of good. So you can activate the effects of Orcust monsters in your graveyard, or of link monsters you control with Orcust minion as quick effects. Okay, that's kind of crazy. I mean, like, just that, it's not even that, I'm sure that is really powerful now that I look back at these other cards, but like, just a card that turns all your other cards into quick effects is just kind of a weird concept to begin with, but interesting. And so during your main phase, this card in your graveyard, except the turn it was sent there, you can send one card, add it back. So you can just add it back for discarding a card, replace itself. So if they do ever out it, and you have some protection for it with like the XYZ guy. This is pretty interesting, and now I'm kind of seeing like, also like I think this is searchable with some of those other cards. So yeah, right? So you can search it with Galatea, set 1 Orcust Power Trap. So you could, yeah, okay, so you can search it with that, and then put the Dingirsu on top of it. And I mean, that doesn't do it, like that's just a pop that turn, like you don't inherently get, I guess if you start, I'm just thinking about how this actually works, like, so, and also Galatea, if you link it off, okay, so it's like, also you could, so in theory, right, you could Harpor, summon the symbols guy, and then you get another guy on board, or you could summon the searcher, the level 4. You get another guy on board, you link those up into Galatea, you put back the Harpor, you search the field spell, you put the XYZ on top of it, and then you can either attach or send a card. So but that only protects from destruction, right? I know I'm kind of getting, yeah, destroyed by battle card, but you could maybe figure out a way to pop it yourself too, but then like the symbols is going to be engraved by that point. So what you can also do is revive the Galatea, and since the Babble's on the field, that would let you put back the symbols on their turn, because you already used the Galatea on your turn. You could put back the symbols and then get another Stellar Trap. So it's just kind of a little engine, and you have the XYZ guy on the field to protect it. So I'm kind of seeing that, and then maybe if these other spell and traps do stuff, then this could also be good. Normal special summons, you can take 1 Orcust or World Legacy monster from your hand or deck, send it to graveyard. So this is like, it's not like a floodgate, but it just kind of stops them from doing anything. Like you're just going to get a bunch of advantage, but it's only once per turn. It's not hard once per turn, so even if you have multiple copies. So like maybe this would be a good additional one to search, but it seems kind of mid. I mean, at the end of the day, all this is like seeming a little bit mid also, because like, yeah, it's free bodies, but like unless you're setting up like negates, it feels like kind of underwhelming for current. Orchestrate return. Send 1. Ooh, wait, so this seems good. Draw 2. So it also sends from hand. So this is just a draw engine that you can have already. So this deck seems pretty consistent, and like you can Galatea set this, then send the Galatea, then like revive it with the symbols, or you know, something to that regard. It just gives you something to do with the free bodies, or like revive the thing with symbols, then send it with this. So even if you're not searching the Babble to have the interrupts on their turn, then I guess you could also like make the Dingirsu, crescendo it to grave, and then revive it with the symbols, maybe on the, like if you already hard drew the Babble or something. So onto the attack. I mean, this just looks like shit. This is unplayable. Yeah, because that card was just like a sack red 2 armor basically, like a deep prison. Okay, so this continues. Banish 1 monster, field or graveyard. Either player can target it, but you can't chain it. Like they already would have targeted it if you're chaining it. If other, and then it protects the other one. So I mean, the banish 1 monster that can fuel your banish, but also, or like maybe let you dodge something, but this doesn't seem that good either. It doesn't seem that impactful. Like I know like drawing any trap going second is kind of mid. And then tribute 2 machine monsters, target 1 monster, and then if they have a link. And so this lets you get back potentially 2 guys, but for the cost of tributing, I mean, this seems also kind of bad. So it seems like it's really just like the draw effects and, you know, putting a lot of bodies on board. Like maybe if your deck is already playing a lot of dark stuff, then maybe you don't even need to play as much of the like such a big engine, you could just like now like Heart Forward just seems so good, like especially because you could just Foolish Burial and then like or something to special summon a guy from deck and make the Galatea very easily. And then once you have Galatea, you just have the you're already putting back the Heart Forward, so you're able to do this all over again basically, and then you can get the draw spell, which is Crescendo. No, Crescendo. Did I already look at this one? Oh, I didn't look at this one. Shit. Spell trap cards activated. Negate the Orcust Link monster. Negate the activation. Banish that card. Okay, so this is worth searching. You know, like if you're going first, I can see like you search this, you set it, and you have negate ready to go. And then another effect, because these cards all have 10 effects. Banish the card from your graveyard. Add to your hand one of your dark monsters that's banished or in your deck. Oh, so it's banished or in deck. Okay, so it's just a search once it's in the graveyard. And if you milled it or send it somehow, and then the same effect. So this card's extremely good. So this is just like, if it ever goes to grave, it's a Rhoda, if you want to call it that. Plus, if you draw it or are able to search it with Galatea. But I guess it's just like, if you want the draw power, you can search the return, and if you want a negate, you can search that. But once again, I am not like entirely sure how good these cards are going to be, at least as a like archetype in current, just because it seems like a lot of other decks have ways to like spam free bodies on board and set up negates, and like you're playing a lot of main deck cards that are maybe not that good on their own. But I mean, that's kind of the point of this video, because I'm please correct me in the comments if you think this is going to be crazy in current, if you think this is going to be horrible, like why did I even do this, are there like cards here that I need to check out? I mean, the World Legacy stuff I'm just not even going to get into, even though obviously I could understand how that could have a big impact on how good this deck is. But yeah, like I know like Armageddon, Grepher, Mathematician, you could send this stuff, 1-for-1 can search some of it, Foolish Burial, so I know some of that stuff. But let me see, let me read this real quick. Got a link. So they all have an immunity, and then in Babel you can add Disruption, and then Topologic. I do understand what Topologic does, but yeah, I mean, it's an interesting engine. I really like the idea of Heart Forward. That's a very cool card, just like kind of, you can use it as a body and then replace itself. So that's an interesting card. I know that's the one that obviously came back, but whether this deck is really going to do anything, I kind of have no idea. But I've enjoyed doing this because I think I will pick up some current stuff again soon, and I'm hoping to maybe make that into a little fun series of just how I can reintegrate myself. Maybe I'll get coaching from someone, and yeah, I mean, these are just my initial thoughts, and maybe if you're an older player looking to get back into current, we could chat about that together. But yeah, if you're playing a lot of current, sound off. Like, do I need to avoid this? Should I buy up all the Orcust cards? Like, in my mind, in my impression, and from talking to a few people, honestly, they seem to be thinking that the Orcust stuff is not going to have a huge impact. Seems like it maybe has gotten power crept, but I feel like I always see this in current, where it's like these little cards that like could be a kind of mini package in some other deck that can support it, that I guess, yeah, is already using dark cards or something like that. But that's going to do it for today. We can maybe make a follow-up with the World Justice, the IB card. That card seems really crazy. But yeah, please let me know, and if you like this kind of, I'm definitely going to always do a ton of Edison, so no need to worry about that. But if you want to see some current stuff, I'm kind of feeling ready to dip my toes back in. This new format seems pretty interesting, and I've kind of been on the fence watching from afar, but Edison is sometimes feeling a little boring, so I think it might be time for me to come back a little bit and try to cook up and maybe get some current results as well to add to my resume. But yeah, thanks for watching. If you watched the whole vid, like, comment, subscribe, and I'm going to do a little year-end review soon. And thanks for watching, appreciate it. Peace.